Thank you very much, President Seth. I spent 4 hours of meeting this morning working on Denver's newest project, which is the redevelopment of Union Station. It's a project we're going to do, the first new office building on that site. Get to thinking about that, that site is 110 years old. It's iconic in Denver. And the people that have been involved with that project for the last 3.5 years that I've been a part of it, for the last 8 years that the city's been a part of it, are people that have a long-term investment in our community. Financial, but more importantly, they're third and fourth generational Coloradans, Denverites, and they went to the very foundation of our city. And I thought it's a very strange and odd act of symmetry that I leave that meeting and I come out and have the opportunity to introduce Pat Grant. Pat is a fourth generation Coloradan. His family has had an enormous impact on our state, both financially, helping us shape and keep the values of the West alive within our community, within our club, which Pat's a member. But more importantly, he represents that second institution that we have in this area that's well over 100 years old and has impacted our city for these many years. And he was the president and CEO from about the early 90s, I think 92. He's gone on to now lead the planning group of the National Western Stock Show on how we redevelop this icon that we have right here, this jewel, and make it serve our community for another 106 years. And Pat walks the walk in many ways. He's a big sponsor of our book, our history book. National Western plays out strongly in this book in so many ways there as well. I can't say much more, except I think this is an enormous opportunity for me to introduce someone who's had a huge impact on Denver, who was my client in building the horse barn over here, probably 15 years ago, and who occasionally allows me to call him my friend. Pat Grant.
Hey, Jim McGivney, don't overstate it, pal. No, thanks so much for your kind introduction. And let me just say that I think I'm second or third in line to be your speaker. And I'm happy to be second or third in line. Paul Andrews, the new president and CEO, and a new member of Rotary, is busy with all the activities and all the actions and all the operation of putting on this big show. So he couldn't be here. And then I gather you really wanted Baxter Black to come speak. Peg Johnson said, we couldn't get Baxter, will you do it? And I said, you bet, I'd be thrilled to do it. And by the way, I don't know who in charge of speakers, but if I can help for next January, a year from now, with Baxter, let me know, because I'd be happy to do so. You know there is a change of leadership when at the lunch buffet in the back, you have not just beef, but for God's sake, you got chicken. Now, I say that with a big smile. Paul, if he were here, would smile as well. I think there was one Rotary or one Boy Scout breakfast or lunch where we didn't serve beef, and their hand shot up when I was starting my speech, and where's the beef, Grant? So anyway, I'm glad at least they served it. Let me speak for a few minutes on National Western Long Range Planning. And as you know, this is a very complicated, large topic that could take me a 2 hours. You don't want that kind of speech, and I'm not prepared to do that. But it is enormously difficult, complex, with lots of different perspectives and angles and pressures and constraints. And so this noon, what I'm going to try to impart to you is a summarized version that is truthful, direct, candid, respectful of those parties involved, because that's what's appropriate, and that properly speaks to our quality and our values and our institution. You've heard me speak before about the challenges and constraints upon National Western. And I will mention those briefly, but I'm not going to go into those in detail. The proposed rebuilding and reconstruction of I-70. This has been going on 5 or 6 years and it's still not resolved. There is a possibility that I-70 could be built right through our complex, indeed right through this building and through this room. RTD Fast Tracks is put aside and is going forward with a plan for North Metro Corridor to the west of us about 50 feet, and they will be taking up 40 feet for an expanded right-of-way. Our buildings are aging. We have 95 acres, and while you may say that's an awful lot of acreage, central Denver area, and it is quite a lot, but in relative terms, that's not a lot when you're trying to put on what I believe and many of us believe is the premier stock show, rodeo, and horse show, not just in Denver, not just in North America, but indeed the world. The city itself commissioned a plan for helping create more of a greenway along the South Platte River. And their plan, master plan, is conceptual. It's a good plan, it's a bold plan, it's a challenging plan, but their plan would take up some of our needed acreage if that plan comes to fruition. Now, instead of stepping back and getting upset, and there have been a few moments where I've gotten a little tight over the last few years, and viewing this as nothing but a big problem and a big challenge, and how could people do this without understanding our situation, we have got, and I would strongly encourage all of you to view this as not a problem, but an enormous opportunity, an enormous situation where we can help create, mold, and develop and change the future, and do so for the better. The first question everybody asks is, can you stay where you are? Well, they ask that question in the context, in good faith, but in the context of knowing the January stock show, rodeo, horse show. And that's what we've been for the last 105 years, with some sprinkling of activity in the off-season. That is from February through December. And we went to a group, a consulting group, some few years ago, and asked them, can we stay here? Can we expand? Can we grow? And the answer came back to us. The answer is clearly yes, but it will be extremely expensive, and to rebuild and recreate this complex for future growth will be around $500 million